Yo, 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 what is
what's the
up?
deal?
YingYangSports. I am Justin. That is Joel. And we are accompanied by a very special guest, Chase Amley in the building, baby.
Yo, what's
How
up,
we
everyone?
feeling?
Good, man. I'm feeling great. I've had a great day today. It's awesome to be here, like interacting with you guys in person and stuff, and then seeing how everything kind of like goes behind the scenes. So.
All right, well, let me get this started in a very correct way for my liking. Shit. All right, because, this is a swearing okay free zone, whatever it's called, because that was so brutal. I can't lie. I might need to bar myself away from E&E forever. Like, I may never be able to make an appearance again. Like, for my own self, because I know I have to stop swearing at some point, but it is so difficult. Any of you guys care to comment on that?
Just gotta be a professional, man.
Dog, you ripped the N-word. Come on.
No, they with KG, like I told KG, what he talking about is on heavyweights. Like,
Oh, word.
yeah, that's why I'm like, I
thought
don't.
he was talking about today.
I've never cussed on E&E.
Word. No, I mean, I get the professional thing. I think it's just so hard to like completely flip the switch because the other two shows I'm on and then my occasional appearance on heavyweights, it's just like I don't have to do that, and it's just it is really hard. But I know there will be a sense where I will have to stop doing that, and I get that. So
I mean, you don't even on some real shit though. You don't even want to just be cussing to cuss just for like I guess a marketable sense.
No, I don't. No, that's straight up. I don't want to be. I'm actively trying to not do it as much as I already do. And it's honestly, you can ask my family. I've done a relatively good job at not being an absolute swear monster at all times because I used to be 100%. But now it's more. I just got to figure it out when I'm on air. But we got a packed show today. Honestly, we're just going to shoot the shit. Let's call it how it is. We're just going to shoot the shit because we just all were talking for 2 hours. I've been on air for 6 hours today. So, I mean, everyone's heard my sports takes. So, let's start off with the new folk. Chase, down there. Throw out some bold sports takes you got. Let it fly.
Old sports.
I know you got, like, my take on Lamar. Like, I know you got one that you have loaded up in the chamber. Hit us with it.
Yeah, okay. I mean, this is like a throwback, but like that whole Nickel Roby-Coleman pass interference call in the NFC Championship game, like I'm not throwing my hands up in the air over that. A lot of people forget about the fact that...
Is that the Rams-Saints one?
Yeah, when the Saints were up 14-0 in the first half and they lost in overtime, like they blew that game.
14-point lead.
Exactly. Don't put yourself in that position to where you have to rely on the refs to throw the flag or not throw the flag. I mean, you were up at home. And that's another thing. Like that's why I was so excited to get Jared Goff onto this Lions team when we traded away Matt Stafford for him, because Jared Goff, unlike Matt Stafford, went into New Orleans, won a playoff game when it mattered. We've seen Jared Goff do that. So I mean, I think the Saints are a bunch of big crybabies, some of the worst football fans in the NFL. Saints. And I mean, I was a big proponent of that trade for like Stafford for Goff. We got such a haul with not only the picks, but I mean, we got a better quarterback in my opinion. I don't care about Stafford winning the Super Bowl. He was not a top 10 player on that entire Rams roster.
Damn. I love that. I love that, Chase. Keep going.
I mean, pretty much about the Rams. Like, that's all I got to say about that. I mean, I just don't think I don't think Stafford was the straw that stirred the drink to win in that Super Bowl. I think you could have put 5 different quarterbacks, of that same caliber. Like Brock Purdy would have won the Rams that Super Bowl.
You think Goff wins that Super Bowl for them?
Well, I don't think they had the faith in Goff, and I think confidence does play a big factor. Not that he can't do it. I think he definitely can. I don't think the team necessarily had the belief in him, but I mean, I think imagine what Sean McVay would do with like Jalen Hurts over Matt Stafford. Like, I just think like there's so many more quarterbacks who can run that offense, because like I said, it's not just the offense. That defense was loaded. And if you go up and down that roster, Stafford is not sniffing the top 10. There is loaded Hall of Famers up and down that team.
I'm not going to lie. I get that, but the ball placement and, like, the arm talent of Stafford is the reason that, like, they were able to get to that point.
Goff's a better decision maker, but
that's
Stafford
what I was just about to say.
Has
Goff,
the better arm talent.
Like, Jared, how should I say this? They both could run the system, but more so Jared Goff is, like, he more so ran the system. It looked like just at the face value.
Yeah.
But the throws that Matthew Stafford was able to make, he was able to get those throws that like, yes, that's what I wanted. That's what the decision I wanted you to make. That's the type of throws Matthew Stafford would make. So that's why I see like, yeah, maybe he wasn't like the name, like on paper, yeah, he probably not a top 10 player on that team on paper, but to get them to that point, Matthew Stafford definitely was a big proponent for that.
Yeah, Nick, that is Chase, your boy, your buddy who you talk about.
Yeah. This is me,
running
Nick.
buddy. This is your boy right here. He is live. He is in studio. And shout out to everyone in chat. Just a fan. The three amigos.
Oh, what you call it? Alan W said he got a question. What you call it? If wins and playoff success aren't a QB stat, then why isn't Dak top 3 or at minimum top 5? I mean, most people do put Dak top 5 quarterback.
I don't.
I'm saying, like, if you look at most, like, we just look up any, like, I'm saying, like, if you just look up a list and take 100 lists, at the average, Dak is, like, usually around that 5-7-ish range, is he not?
I mean, I think it's fair to put him in the top 5 of the NFC, and then, he'd probably top 10 across the entire NFL. I think the way I said that, I don't think the Rams have a lot of belief in Stafford. I don't think the national media has a lot of belief in Dak outside of Dallas to get it done.
Yeah.
I don't even think Dallas has faith. I see a couple people calling for Trey Lance.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think people forget about the fact that they traded for Trey Lance last offseason. He is sitting there waiting, so they don't have to pay Dak. Like, they still have another guy right there.
But is Trey Lance even good?
Yeah, that's
I was just about to say.
what Neil would say. He's like, well, the Cowboys are going to be banking on an unproven arm. And that is true, but at the same time, it might be in their plans to rebuild. I mean, if they don't go for Dak, I mean, CeeDee Lamb's probably going to want out. Micah Parsons is probably going to want out. And you're going to see that team kind of crumble a little bit. So I definitely think that it is intriguing, that whole situation, because if they do decide to go with Trey Lance, do you think that they will rebuild?
They would have to, bro.
I mean, it'd be such a tough move, I think. I don't think Jerry Jones is in a point in his life where he wants to rebuild. He's going for the title. He wants another Super Bowl. They just paid all that money to CD. And they're just such a big market. I don't know if the Giants or the Washington football team are going to be able to take that next step at a consistent level where the Cowboys aren't going to be fighting for with the Eagles for the NFC East title, every few years.
Alan W, I have no clue what you're talking about now. Are you reading that too?
He's talking about the Ocho?
No, what he said, no, I'm saying Dak puts up the best numbers.
He was in a conversation with Easy in the chat today.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. He must be talking. That's why I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about now.
What Easy said that wins aren't a quarterback stat, but I think it goes both ways. I think it does.
Well, no, I've been saying this for years. Wins and losses, when it comes to quarterbacks, they're going to take way too much of the credit for both. Yeah. They're going to take way too much credit in wins, and they're going to take way too much blame in losses. So that's just how it falls for quarterbacks, basically.
But winning in the playoffs, to me, is a quarterback stat, because that's a lot of the time quarterback driven.
I mean, even it's still the same premise. It's just
it is.
I think people get hung up on that too much because at the end of the day,
because quarterback don't play defense.
There's 32 quarterbacks in the league. Only one team wins the Super Bowl. So I mean, that's how many 14 teams make the playoffs. That means 13 quarterbacks are going to lose in the playoffs at some point. It's
no, yeah, that's more so my point too. Everybody can't win every fucking year, so it's you can't. That's why I don't really slander people for numbers of rings or shit like that, because it's what the fuck? If there's this much talent in the league, how are you slandering this player for not winning a ring? When was their window ever to really win a ring?
I mean, to bring up, Lamar Jackson, he has one of the best defenses in the league. He has weapons. If he doesn't get it done this year, that is cause for concern for me. I mean, I understand only one team wins the Super Bowl every year, but this will be multiple trips to the AFC title game.
When did Zay Flowers fumble in the? It was
at the end of the third quarter
second
or
half.
The start of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, no, because that's what I'm saying.
It was late in the game, but not at the end of the game.
That's what I'm saying. I know it wasn't very end, but I'm saying it's just plays like that you driving and then you literally about to get a touchdown, which is probably gonna drastically change the outlook of that game. And then it's now you just fumble, and now it drastically changes it back the other way. So it's just like when you had these ebbs and flows in the game, it's just like that's why I'm saying like quarterback don't play defense. Like quarterback,
it was in the third quarter.
You can really only control what you can control at the end of the day. So it's like that's more so what I look at with a quarterback. Like if a quarterback is making plays to lose the game, then yes, you're a choker. You're like
throwing into a triple coverage.
But at that point, that's desperation. Like,
yeah, I mean, like,
because wasn't that on like a fucking, wasn't that like a long ass third or a long ass fourth down?
No, it was on second down.
It was long though. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't like a long down.
I mean, late in the game when a quarterback's trying to push the ball down the field, like, and that's like it's your last drive with the ball. Like, I mean, you're either gonna make the play or you're not. And if
But at that point, like Lamar is such a playmaker where I'd rather have him scramble and hopefully get out of bounds and throw into triple coverage. Like, there was enough time in the game, even if he would have slid and the clock would have ticked, where he could have got the offense back up to the line of scrimmage. I know Joel's about to fact check me, but
no, I'm about to just pull up the game. I don't even remember like much of the game past that point.
Remember
you know why I don't remember much of the game past that point? Because I was sick because I had a dog ass parlay, bro. $15 was about to give me $900, and Rashee Rice, he was 4 yards away. But he had the yards, but one of the plays got called back. Because I don't know if y'all remember, he had a touchdown that got called back because of holding. And that got him the yards, and it got called back. And what you call it? I missed that shit by 1 leg and 4 yards. So I wasn't even like, I was too sick to really even care about the end of the game.
Really?
Because like I didn't even care who won. I just was more so like.
Nah, it's bad. I mean, it was one of those times where you're with your boys, and you guys are all watching together. And every single one of them told me all week, oh, this is Lamar's time. They're going to beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs don't have any weapons. Blah, blah, blah. And I just told them, I was like, look, push comes to shove. Lamar versus Mahomes. I'm taking Mahomes. And they underestimated the defense. I mean, that was the big thing I hammered home. I was like, Mahomes is one thing, but like their defense is elite. And I was sitting there, I was like, wow, that's elite ball placement. But also, if you watch that game straight up, and I don't want to keep talking about Lamar, because I actually do enjoy watching Lamar. And I got hate on that on Big D because I think Lamar is worse than everyone else, apparently, on their quarterback list. But it's not okay for me to enjoy watching him. But he had a lot of throws in that game where he just missed his receiver. He either bounced it short, threw it long, especially on those out routes where he's throwing to the edge. He just missed a lot of throws, and I remember at least 10 times I was like, that's elite ball placement. That's elite ball placement, like making fun of my friends. So the narrative isn't just driven from the triple coverage interception. That's genuinely watching that entire game. I was sitting there like, wow, this is really a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. And I sat there and I was like, hell no, I'd take C.J. Stroud over him in this game.
Yeah, but I mean, it's tough to say when you saw.
Well, going off your logic, he beat C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
No, I know.
But the Ravens' defense did to C.J. Stroud too.
The Ravens as a team are better than the Texans.
And I mean, and I'd say the Chiefs are
so
better
that's
than
what
the
I'm
Ravens
saying.
though too. So like when the Chiefs beat the Ravens, it's like that's kind of what you expect.
I don't know. I mean, I think the rosters were a lot closer. I mean, you go position by position, you could pretty much go one for one, other than the quarterback position. Mark Andrews for Travis Kelce. Their lines are almost identical.
Mark Andrews wasn't playing.
Yeah, he was.
He did. He was your guard. I forgot.
Played that game.
I forgot. He did come back, but he came off with a broke ass ankle, so he barely was what you call.
Kelce got hurt that year.
Kelce was not as hurt as Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is literally the one play that the NFL was like, all right, this hip drop shit got to end.
I mean, the Ravens did lose J.K. Dobbins. Like their rushing attack got demolished by injuries.
I'll give you that.
I was about to say, yeah, Lamar had to be the leading rusher. Attempts and what you call
had a better defense. Arguably had a better defense.
I wouldn't even say it that confidently. The Chiefs had a whip on defense.
Yeah, they might have put up better numbers. I know, like a lot of people are probably gonna talk about.
I'm saying if you go position by position,
what you call fucking Chris Jones, Mike Dana, fucking George Karlaftis, Trent McDuffie, goddamn L'Jarius Sneed, Nick Bolton.
I'd take Marlon Humphreys over L'Jarius Sneed.
Hell no. All right, next topic.
That's recency bias from you, Joel.
That's not even a recency bias, bro. Marlon Humphrey's been low-key, he's above average, but like Marlon Humphrey not just like no lockdown corner.
Judas, Joel, and Caleb, what is your hot... That's not Caleb. That is Chase. Let's figure it out. What is your hottest NFL take for the season so far?
He talk about let my boy Justin hate in peace. That's why I'm like, next topic. Yeah, we what's your hottest take? I gotta think of mine.
I kind of gotta think.
Hey,
of
throw your thing about the Rams back out there for ETN. He's a Rams fan.
Oh, I mean,
just real quick, like short Cliff Notes version.
I think the Saints have no right to complain about the NFC Championship game when they blew the 14-0 lead, but I also think that we got a steal of a deal in that Rams trade, giving up just Stafford to get back.
It's hard to say a steal of the deal though, because they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I don't think that Stafford is the reason they won the Super Bowl though. But I said, you go up and down that.
You don't think
roster.
that they would have won with Goff. So they had to make that move to win the title.
I don't think the team had belief in Goff that they could win. I think there's a lot of other quarterbacks who could have filled that role and still gotten I think they just needed a new quarterback in there, and I honestly think someone like Jimmy Garoppolo would have been enough to get them over the hump. He's gone to 2 Super Bowls. I mean, granted he has, or I think just one, but
I was about to say he only played in one.
Yeah, but still he. I think he would have been enough. He's been enough to get to a Super Bowl, and we saw how well Sean McVay coached that team. I think that
I would say in that though, you see with Jimmy Garoppolo, you see the difference of having a quarterback that can just get you to the game versus a quarterback that can win you the game. Because Jimmy Garoppolo had throws that, like the throw to Emmanuel Sanders where he wide open, could have put the nail in the coffin in the game, but you got Jimmy Garoppolo throwing that ball. Then you flip it on his head, then you see the Chiefs need a big play, and Tyreek Hill split the defense for that nice post route, and Patrick Mahomes puts a dot and a dart on him. So it's like,
I don't think the Rams even win that Super Bowl if Todd Bowles doesn't put Antoine Winfield in the box on one of the craziest defensive play calls, not keeping 2 safeties deep and letting Cooper Kupp go over the top to put them in field goal range to beat the Bucs, because Stafford blew that game.
They shouldn't have played.
Yeah, people forget about that too. That's another reason why I think Stafford.
That was a mix of Stafford and Cam Akers.
Yeah, Stafford.
Then Cam Akers had 2 fumbles.
I'm pretty sure Stafford had a big pick in that game. He always throws an interception when it matters most, it seems like. So I never liked Stafford. I think the Lions have had such bad quarterback play that him being what he was for us is enough for Lions fans to just soak up that hopium, essentially. We got to 3 playoff games. We did not win a single one. He had Calvin Johnson. He had top 5 defenses in the league with Ndamukong Suh, Cliff Averill, Nick Fairley, Steven Tulloch, DeAndre Levy. You should win 1 playoff game at least.
I'm with you there.
I'm not gonna lie. The only game that we probably should have won was that Dallas one, and it's for the simple fact we was up 17. I never expected us to beat the Seahawks, and I never expected us to beat the Saints. I never expected those games to be wins, because Saints was the number 1 seed. Not number 1 seed. No, they were the number 1 seed when we lost to them. So that was the number 1 seed, and then motherfucking the Seahawks. I knew we were probably gonna get throttled by them, because wasn't that coming off their Super Bowl, or that was I think 2 years removed from the Super Bowl. So they still had a whip of a team here, but it's just more so. I look at it as Stafford was able to do all that he was amidst being in Detroit more so. So it's the team that he was surrounded by, it's plenty of quarterbacks you could have put in his situation that would just, like Jared Goff said, they must have sent me here to die. It would have been plenty of quarterbacks. We could have had how we had one constant in Stafford. It could have been he could have crumbled under pressure, then we got to draft another quarterback. Then they crumble. Then we got to draft another quarterback. Then they crumble. Just for the simple fact that it's no really team or structure that was ever around him. But Stafford was able to, withstand through all that and fucking still produce crazy numbers. He did have seasons where he would have a lot of picks, but he would have a lot of, a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns on losing teams.
I just don't like people using the argument about Stafford putting up numbers when people try to make the same argument for someone like Kirk Cousins, and then they just completely tear him down and talk about how he just doesn't show up in the big games.
I was going to say, for that, though, it's the one lone factor. Well, a player like Kirk Cousins, he only got 1 playoff win, and he's lost to teams like the fucking Giants.
Outside of that one season where he got carried by his 10 Hall of Famers, Matthew Stafford has no playoff wins.
No, yeah, that's fair, but also in those games though, he had moments.
The narrative can change so quickly.
That's what I'm saying. You can easily,
especially for me. Like I will not say anything other than this. As soon as Lamar wins an AFC Championship game, he will rise significantly on my list, and he will be in the top 3, undoubtedly.
You know, like you said, to ECN point, he cleared him in the playoffs, so that's why people would put him over. So it's
he cleared him 1 year with
I mean, he has a ring though. That's what I'm saying. I would see if it's like if you put in like a Stafford just got completely carried, like he didn't really have any plays or any stats or any game that wowed you, but damn near every game he still had to. You still have to show up and make those throws, make those fucking like, I guess, put your team in those situations where your star players can be in a situation to be star players and make star plays, not have to constantly fight from behind. And you get what I'm saying?
I mean, I think that late flag in the Super Bowl, Logan Wilson on Cooper Kupp, I don't know if they called PI or defensive holding, that was a cheese call. They just wanted the Rams to keep the ball. They wanted the Rams to score, and they wanted the Rams to win. If it wasn't for Aaron Donald blowing up the line, like, I think everybody knew that Joe Burrow was taking the ball down that field. They were unstoppable that game. And, I mean, granted, I think if this will make ETN a little happy, I think the Rams losing Odell Beckham completely changed that game. They were going to crush him with Odell. He was just all over the field.
I agree with that.
And Cooper Kupp was
the resurgence of Odell.
He was a complete Cooper Kupp was a complete non-factor. Once they lost Odell, that Bengals defense started playing a lot better. I'm pretty sure Stafford had a pick coming out of the second half. And, I mean, I think people were starting to, like, clench their buttholes a little bit in LA because, like, we saw Joe Burrow go into Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs. And they were seeing Joe Burrow just have his way with this team.
I mean, if I was a Rams fan, I'd be like, oh, my God. Like, what is going on right now? We're about to lose. Like, I'd be shaking in my boots, 100%. Because, like, there's a point, you know, in games where you can see the assholes clinch of your team. Like,
oh God,
in the San Fran game, like we hit a point.
Bro, I say it all the time. When Jahmyr Gibbs, that was when I knew the game was over. But I felt the team they clinched up when motherfucking Josh Reynolds dropped that first.
Oh yeah,
down. That was like the first sign of like, all right guys, come on. Come on, guys. We still got this. Fuck. That's exactly like.
I think it was the Gibbs fumble.
That was the nail in the coffin.
I don't think that was the nail in the coffin. I think that was what really changed the momentum because you can overcome a 4th down, but because when we gave up that fumble and essentially gave them a chance to I think we made it a 3-point game at that point. It's so tough to overcome that. They had the defense. Like, what are you going to do? They have they were almost already in the red zone. It's hard.
No, they were in the red zone.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember exactly.
I was about to say, he fumbled. I remember exactly where he fumbled that bitch. It was at, like, the flat 20. Yeah. I think we got it back from a punt. Yeah, he fumbled it from, like,
I thought it was, like, the 35.
Yeah.
I don't think it was that deep because I remember looking up and as soon as, like, they scored, like, within, like, 2 plays, didn't they?
I mean, you got to think about how much, like even if we end up having to punt the ball on that drive, if we don't fumble, even if we're able to bleed a minute off the clock, 2 minutes off the clock, move the ball 10 yards, 15 yards, and just like at least keep our defense off the field a little bit longer. Like it's just less time for the Niners to get their offense on the field, less time for them to score.
They were able to cover too much ground too quick.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it was. We had enough of a lead where if we would have just made them like have, like I think I remember looking back, I think all they drives was like 2 minutes or sub 2 minutes. So if we could have made them have on those scoring drives like 8 minutes, fucking another 8-minute drive, then probably like maybe a 4-minute drive, that would have dragged. And then if ourselves, we could have got like, we had all quick ass drives ourselves. So if in that, we would have had probably like even stalling out, probably a 6-minute drive that stalls out, fucking 5-minute drive that stalls out. That drastically like changes it to the point where in the 4th quarter, maybe when San Fran takes the lead, now they only up 3 with probably like 3 minutes left, and now we got a chance to like, all right, we can still win this game instead of like being down 13 trying to come back with 2 minutes.
Yeah, ATN said his butthole was clenched during that drive. He didn't say that, quote, but he said he was nervous. So
it was at the 25.
25?
Yeah. I mean, the Niners were able to flip the field in 2 big plays. They have the Gibbs fumble where they got the ball to 25, and then they got it inside the 10 on the Kendall Vildor deflection off the face.
That shit's like, steel, bro.
Those 2 plays, though, like...
That's the real butthole clincher. That was like what the fuck?
That's 14 points on the board.
That's when SOL came back into people.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's when it was like, that's when that play was like, okay, we might lose. But then the Gibbs fumble was like, okay, we're about to lose. Yeah. That's how it was for me. Like, the Vildor thing was like, okay, guys, like, we might lose now. Fuck. That, though, when Gibbs fumbled, I was like, yeah, we're about to lose.
Do you think Stafford's a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Personally, no.
I don't know. I'm in between you two. I really don't know. I'm like so on the border with it. Like I see
he's not first ballot. He's not first ballot.
No, definitely not first ballot. But like his stats, his stats pop off the screen. Like he has.
That's what I'm saying.
Insane amount of passing yards.
Then he has
insane amount of touchdowns. He was the duo with Calvin Johnson.
Then he has the ring to go with it. Yeah. So it's like,
even though all his playoff wins came in that 1 year, I don't think that necessarily is going to be a stain on his resume. I think that it might elevate him, and it might, be viewed in a negative light from a Detroit aspect where, like, it's just going to be like, he was in Detroit, who cares? And then he finally went to a good situation in LA and then won a Super Bowl in his first year. Like, it was obviously the Lions' issue.
Yeah, no, they just said in the chat exactly what I think. I think that playoff run is what put Stafford in the Super Bowl or in the Hall of Fame.
I think if his whole career, that's his only playoff success, he doesn't win another playoff game, I don't think that's enough to get in. He caught lightning in a bottle one time, like I said, with 10 Hall of Famers ahead of you on that roster, on both sides of the ball, and then one of the best coaches in the game.
I can see that, but like I keep saying though, like Stafford was actually going fucking crazy in those games. That's what I'm saying. Like if Stafford was just middle of the road in those games and they was winning, then like okay, but Stafford like was bringing out vintage Lions moments.
He was
like
dropping some dimes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like bringing out vintage Lions moments, they wouldn't have won those 3 playoff games. If you're talking about vintage Stafford on the Lions.
I'm talking about more so like being able to come back. Like you can't take that away from Stafford. Stafford definitely like
I just don't like him. The way like Detroit was we never had anything. We were
I'm not gonna
crumbs for quarterbacks, and Stafford was stale bread. That's not a sufficient meal. Just because it's better than the crumbs and like the nothing you had, I'm not gonna settle for stale bread.
I think more so this is y'all are looking at the fact that Jared Goff won 2 playoff games with a way fucking better team than than Matthew Stafford has ever had in his fucking life on this Lions team.
Stafford had Calvin Johnson.
Yeah. One player. That's one player.
But Stafford never had even remotely as good of an O-line as Goff has.
That's the argument you can make. They did not run the ball. They did not run the ball at all.
Only argument you can make is receivers, but Stafford never has really ever had a run game behind him except for like 1 year where Reggie Bush got 1,000 yards.
And I'm not saying that, Calvin Johnson and Amon-Ra St. Brown are even remotely comparable, but in terms of like
what
yards
you can do with
stuff, like Amon-Ra, his season last year, he got 1,500 yards. I mean, how many seasons? I know that.
Well, no, I was gonna say that argument you're gonna lose that. Calvin Johnson damn near got all 1,500 yards.
Every year?
Damn near. He got 12. He got like 4. He never got like all 1,500, but he got like 1,400, 1,300, 15.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like they're at least comparable. I know it's only one season, but like if Amon-Ra puts up another, 14, 15-yard season, like he's going to be next in that conversation. Honestly, I don't even know what Herman Moore's season averages are in terms, but Amon-Ra St. Brown is chasing Herman Moore. I mean, I think it's a relatively easy conversation.
That's fair to say.
If he has another really remarkably great season, honestly, on par with the yards of Calvin Johnson, then he deserves to be starting to be looked at as the second greatest Lion and wide receiver in history.
What you call it?
I think Nick Hedigan in the chat made a really good point, too, talking about how we always say, like, quarterbacks make the receivers, but if you look at who Stafford's had to throw to his whole career, I mean, like, think about, like, Cooper Kupp, Calvin Johnson, Puka Nacua. Yeah, they put up 3 of the best seasons, and Stafford was their quarterback. But like, how much is that Stafford like getting them the ball? How much is that them getting the ball and making plays with it, and also like their ability to get open?
Bro,
yeah.
Allen W. So the combo of Frank Ragnow, Taylor Decker, and Graham Glasgow were enough to win game. That's what we like. Okay, bro. Yes, these are some of the same players, but bro, like, can you like? I guess look at it from a fact of not trying to make a point. That's more so how I should say it. I'm looking at it from a fact of not trying to make a point. If you look at it from a fact of not trying to make a point, Jared Goff has had better teams than Matthew Stafford. It's like, is that not fair to say?
No, it's fair to say.
Well, no, we're really the team that he had success with when he made the playoffs was a better team completely. So it's like the O-line, and then you naming the O-line that came in near the tail end of Stafford when we had the worst of our team. So it's like, yeah, like he had pieces at different times. Jared
at that point, he
Goff
didn't have
is
Calvin
getting
Johnson.
it as a union.
At that point, he didn't even have Calvin Johnson.
That's what I'm
though.
saying. He got all that at the worst of the worst. Like, he got it when now it's like no fucking Golden Tate. It's like it's Badlands out
Bush
there.
in the backfield. Like,
It damn near wasn't even Reggie Bush no more. It was just running back by
Joey
committee
Bell,
trying to
like,
find anybody.
who,
Yeah.
like, Zach Zinner, like, I mean, you can name the running backs that he had. None of them are even remotely close to Monty and Gibbs.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yes, Stafford has had pieces over times at points, but Jared Goff has had them all together. Like, how we talk about all these pieces, he's having them all at once. Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, when you talk about him, you're like, all right, Matthew, he had Calvin this year, Reggie this year, DeAndre Levy and Steven Selleck this year, and then these players this year. It was never all at once.
The 2014 Lions are better than last year's Lions.
I think he's talking about the defense. That was a number one ranked defense in the league. So like,
Okay, all right.
I was about to say.
It says 2014 Lions D was amazing.
He says I would say the 2014 Lions was a better team than last year's Lions. That's what he said. I just read it straight out of chat.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was looking up further. So
No, we're not. They're not even in the same stratosphere because if they are, you don't value offensive line play because the offensive line in 2014 was not good.
Take away the players. I think the coaching.
They
the
literally making
people
a point.
making
This
the
is at a
calls
different
on the
point.
X's and O's. Literally, like I think if you were to give Dan Campbell the 2014 Lions roster, and then whoever was the coach, I don't know if it was Jim Caldwell, Jim Schwartz, or whoever at the time.
O-line be that ass.
Like no, I think you see completely different results if you swap the coaches of those two teams.
That's valid.
So I think you have to put a lot that weighs into that. It's also when we were talking about on our Monday Night Edwards, the Michigan schedule. I was weighing a lot into the other teams' coaching outside of just the X's and O's of the players.
No, yeah, and I take into account a lot. I mean, the environment and honestly, if they played Texas in week 5, and not week 2, I'd probably feel a different way about it. But the fact that it's that early and you have to go into that tough an environment, and I know they're returning a bunch of players, and I know that they are going to be a really good team this year. I don't doubt that. I just don't like teams going on the road early in the season to win. Think about this. Texas versus Alabama when they played in Texas. That team, that 2022 Alabama team was so good. They had so much premier NFL talent, won on a last-second play.
Yeah, I mean, like Texas has had good defenses like the last few years. That's like they've been tough defensively.
Alan W., I'm about to ban you from the chat for what you just said. I don't even want to.
You want to take this debate further? Goff deserves to be in the Lions Ring of Honor before Stafford.
I'm down with that. Goff's won some playoff games. Stafford did not. So I mean, if you want to throw them both in there, I'm not going to cry about it. I think Goff should go in there first.
I don't really care about the timing.
ETN, you're doing your best Lamar Odom impression, saying that Goff had a better roster on the Rams than Stafford did.
Huh?
The Stephen A. drop. Who signed Lamar Odom? Who was smoking crack or who was on crack? Like he's doing, like ETN saying Goff had a better roster with the Rams. He's doing his best Lamar Odom impression.
Oh my god, that was so good, jeez. I love that. But yeah, I
was gonna say one thing I do want to say about that 2014 defense, bro. Our defense was good from the front four and the linebackers from the fact of being able to clog up lanes and be great in running, but we still got shredded by passing. So it's like, yeah, we were great. I wouldn't say we were great. We were just an above good team. We weren't average. We were what was we like? We for sure wasn't top 1. We were what? I think if I remember correctly, we was at the composite ratings around 11, if I remember correctly. So it's yeah, that's high, but we still getting shredded by pass. So it's the running game bolstered that defensive stat. So it's I wasn't ever too confident this team is going to be able to stop Dez Bryant and what's in the rain, Terrence Williams. Am I tripping? Yeah, Terrence Williams. All those receivers down there. So it's you can make a lot of points for a lot of things.
Yeah, you can. Even if you're completely off base.
That's crazy. ETN just said it's arguable as soon as I said that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why, sometimes, I love Flannel, and you'll never hear me say anything negative about Flannel, but sometimes, it is easy to break down some of Flannel's arguments Like I don't remember what we were debating. Oh yeah, Patrick Surtain. He said Patrick Surtain was mid, and I was like, dog, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown and Devontae Adams saying that is the best cornerback in the league. Argue with that. Those dudes actually play against him, and they're two of the best receivers in the NFL.
Then what did he say? Yeah,
like,
but Patrick's saying defensive usage is at this percentage, and he's not making this amount of plays at this point.
He gave me my credit. He was like, "You got me there," and I was like, "All right," which I respect. You know, you could argue your point to death.
Type Flannel do be having like random ass stats already though. I just be some stats though. I just listen to it and I'm like, bro, I don't give a fuck. I watched the game.
That's why I respect Flannel so much though, because he actually like he'll watch all the games, but then he'll like
still get stats. Yeah,
and he'll like go and dive in on, and he like strategic. He knows all of his points going into it. I'm assuming he has some takes that like he comes up with on the spot, but he really dives in and has everything for his take. But I think that also comes from the fact that Neil, just like you have to have everything to go against Neil. Like Joel, you do not understand how difficult it is to argue with that man. He is a true professional in this art form. I mean, I guess you get a little piece of it with Terry, but I don't think Terry like gets on you like Neil. What do you think, Chase?
He'll put you in the spin cycle. You gotta be on your toes.
I really don't even be watching BDE that much. I don't really, it's crazy. Like when I do tune into BDE, Neil don't even fucking be there.
I think he's don't get so caught up in the emotions sometimes. I think that's what he like tries to
I was just about to say, like, you have to not give a fuck about what Neil talking about though, from what I have seen when he talking about it.
He wants to get you into like a place where you're emotional. I mean, that's where he goes for Sam. And then he tries to get me there when he pulls out the Western and Michigan stuff and
but Jesus, you go to Western Michigan.
Literally every
time. How are you a fan?
Literally every time. Like, I can't say a word about Michigan. But if I talk about Michigan like negatively, he will be like, "Oh, that's a Michigan fan right there." Like he's telling you how it is. Like he's being honest. And he like any way you take it, he'll have a way to swing it. But that's gonna do it for us today. YingYangSports. Shout out to Chase for joining the crew, as in Woodward Sports, and tapping in with us on Ying Yang. Me and him, I got some hockey stuff in the mix that we're working on. We're talking about. We're getting ready for the season. It's going to be a big season for the Red Wings, so I'm excited.
Let's go Red Wings.
Let's go. Chase, you got anything to say to the people before we wrap this thing up?
I mean, hey, shout out to the people in chat. It's nice to, like, you guys can see me at least. I know I can't see you, but it's cool just to, like, get a different way to interact with you guys. And, I'm just, like, looking forward to, like, whatever opportunities lie ahead. So, thank you.
Yes. All right. Well, that will do it for us. Joel, you know what it is. Take him out, dog.
I told them to shut up. My son cried.